Hello, Steve Arts 89. Well, the Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power, the controversy continues. Now, basically, when they first released the images of the cast, a bunch of racist fans reacted because all they had to react to was the actual race of the cast, and it was all pretty transparent. Now, eventually, these people tried to claim that that their issue was actually with how far they were straying from the source material, the assumption that they would be doing that, but none of them knew anything. But now, slowly, sadly, information is coming out which seems to actually suggest that is true. Now, of course, these people were all using that, assuming it was going to happen. They didn't actually know anything about it, so actually, it doesn't support any of their cases. But it does appear to be happening anyway. So it's a little bit, I don't know, it's a bit sad. Basically, Amazon bought the rights to The Hobbit and the free Lord of the Rings books, the Return of the King, the Fellowship of the, I've forgotten the names of them, but yeah, the three main novels and the appendages. Forgive me, it's too late, I shouldn't even be doing this video, I can't even talk. And The Hobbit. So apparently those books contain a version of the era that they want to portray, but they don't actually have the rights to the books that actually, as far as I understand, depicted them. So how are they going to do that without just creating basically their version of these stories? I don't know, because when people were talking about the series, they made it very clear that they don't own the rights to the films, Peter Jackson's films. So they can't actually depict any of his versions of the characters as in this series. So much like Star Trek, which had the same problem, the whole 25% different syndrome situation, where legally they can't actually portray the characters as they were portrayed in the film, because that's Peter Jackson's portrayal of those characters that he owns. So they had the access to the books, the source material, the IP, but not the version that we've seen. So they've cheaped out. Had they paid Jackson money, they could have actually done a direct prequel to the films, but this is not that. It's not a prequel to the films, and it's not apparently a true adaptation of the books, because they don't know the rights to the books. So it's their version of this story, and that is what people were complaining that they were going to be doing. They were going to be straying very far from the source material, just making up their own version, their fan fiction version of the story, and not paying attention to the details and the people and so forth. So that's a bit of a worry, because it just is. But it does also support the issue that, it defends the issue that they do have racial casting and diverse casting, because it's their version of the story, and in their version of the story it can be whatever they want. They can have races of colour in their version of Lord of the Rings. They can have black hobbits and elves and so forth or whatever, because this is not Peter Jackson's version. It doesn't have to look like Peter Jackson's version. It doesn't have to become Peter Jackson's version, because they're doing their own version. So yeah, so it's a little bit interesting to hear. It was in an article, I think it was the Vanity Fair one, I'm not sure, because I didn't read it, but I just saw videos of other people were reading it. And it is fairly clear that the two guys who are in charge of this, I think they were supposed to be writing beyond a Star Trek film at some point. I've forgotten their names, but yeah, you know what I'm talking about. They seem to think that they can do their version of Tolkien, and basically, I think the quote was, write the novel he never wrote. So it's looking a bit bad. It's looking a bit dangerous and bad. And I understand anyone criticising the show now and for these elements, but the people who are initially criticising the show purely for the race of the cast and visually that situation, obviously they didn't know any of this and didn't have any proof of any of this, and they weren't objecting to any actual artistic issues with the series, just purely the casting and their racist reaction to it. So it's disappointing to actually see that they're right about some things though, and now they're going to be using that to justify their racism. So yeah, because that was their initial reaction. It had nothing to do with this information that came later. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. I think it could be okay, but if you're a strict Tolkien person, you're going to be very upset that they're doing their version of a partial description of a world and situations that existed in a series of novels they don't own the rights to. So that does spell disaster. I'm trying to be optimistic. It could still be good. I don't know. I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe, maybe even ding the bell. It's too late. I can't talk. I'm going to go. Bye.